Ladies and gentlemen, today we gather to explore a powerful topic that resonates deeply with many of us: emotional detachment. In our journey through life, we often encounter relationships, situations, and experiences that can drain our emotional energy. Learning how to detach emotionally is not about shutting ourselves off from others. Rather, it's about protecting our well-being and creating healthy boundaries. Let's delve into 5 transformative practices to help us navigate emotional detachment effectively. To truly embrace emotional detachment, we must first develop a profound understanding of vulnerability. This concept is often misunderstood in our society, where we tend to associate vulnerability with weakness. However, the reality is that vulnerability is an inherent part of being human, and recognizing its importance is the first step toward emotional resilience. Vulnerability is about being open and honest about our feelings and experiences. It's about allowing ourselves to be seen, flaws and all. When we acknowledge our vulnerabilities, we take a courageous step towards authenticity. And we stop wearing masks that hide our true selves and start presenting who we really are to the world. This authenticity is liberating. It allows us to connect more deeply with ourselves and others. And understanding vulnerability requires us to confront our fears. Many of us fear rejection, judgment, or the possibility of being hurt. This fear often leads us to build walls around our hearts, creating emotional barriers that can prevent meaningful connections. While these barriers might seem protective, they often isolate us, leaving us feeling alone and disconnected. By embracing our vulnerabilities, we can dismantle these barriers and foster genuine relationships. When we allow ourselves to be vulnerable, we invite others to do the same. This mutual openness can create a space where compassion and empathy thrive. It's also important to recognize that vulnerability is not about sharing every detail of our lives with everyone we encounter. Instead, it's about discerning who to share our authentic selves with, those who have earned our trust and who reciprocate our openness. Vulnerability requires discernment. It's about knowing when it's safe to let someone in and when to protect ourselves. By understanding our vulnerabilities, we also learn to separate our emotions from our identity. We can feel pain and sadness without allowing these feelings to define who we are. When we face challenges and emotional turmoil, we must remind ourselves that these experiences are part of life, but they do not dictate our worth. This understanding helps us develop resilience, allowing us to navigate the ups and downs of life without becoming overwhelmed by them. Furthermore, vulnerability is a powerful teacher. It reveals our strengths and weaknesses, giving us insight into our emotional patterns and triggers. By reflecting on our vulnerabilities, we gain a better understanding of our emotional responses and the relationships that contribute to our well-being. This self-awareness is crucial for emotional detachment, as it helps us identify which connections are nurturing and which are draining. Ultimately, embracing vulnerability is about fostering a sense of empowerment. When we understand that being vulnerable is a sign of strength, we can approach life with greater courage. We can engage in relationships and experiences with an open heart, knowing that while we may encounter pain, we also open ourselves to love, joy, and authentic connection. By redefining vulnerability as a source of strength, we cultivate the emotional resilience needed to detach when necessary, while remaining open to the beauty of human connection. Understanding vulnerability is a critical step in our journey toward emotional detachment. It encourages us to embrace our true selves, recognize our worth beyond our emotions, and establish meaningful connections with others. By cultivating a mindset that values vulnerability as a strength, we empower ourselves to navigate our emotional landscape with confidence and grace. Setting clear boundaries is an essential practice for maintaining our emotional well-being and cultivating healthy relationships. Boundaries define our personal limits, what we will and will not accept in our interactions with others. They serve as protective barriers that allow us to honor our needs, values, and feelings while also respecting those of others. Establishing these boundaries can be challenging, but it is vital for our emotional health and overall happiness. First and foremost, it is important to recognize that setting boundaries is not an act of selfishness, rather, it is an act of self-respect. When we establish clear boundaries, we communicate our needs to those around us. This communication is essential in any relationship, whether it be with friends, family, colleagues, or romantic partners. By clearly articulating what is acceptable and what is not, we set the tone for how we expect to be treated. This clarity helps to prevent misunderstandings and miscommunications that can lead to resentment and emotional distress. One of the first steps in setting boundaries is to engage in self-reflection. Take the time to consider your emotional needs in the areas in your life where you may feel overwhelmed or disrespected. What situations cause you discomfort? Where do you feel your energy is being depleted? By identifying these triggers, you can better understand the boundaries you need to establish. For instance, if you find that certain conversations with friends leave you feeling drained, it might be time to set a boundary around discussing specific topics that negatively impact your emotional state. Once you've identified your needs, the next step is to communicate them effectively. This process can feel intimidating, especially if you are not used to asserting yourself. However, it is crucial to express your boundaries clearly and confidently. Use I statements to convey your feelings and needs without placing blame on others. For example, instead of saying, "You always interrupt me," you could say, "I feel unheard when I am interrupted, and I would appreciate it if we could take turns speaking." This approach minimizes defensiveness and opens the door for constructive dialogue. Setting boundaries also requires consistency. Once you've communicated your limits, it's essential to uphold them. This consistency reinforces the importance of your boundaries and signals to others that you take your emotional well-being seriously. If someone crosses a boundary, address it promptly and assertively. Ignoring boundary violations can lead to a pattern of disrespect that diminishes your self-worth and increases emotional turmoil. By addressing these violations head-on, you reinforce the importance of your boundaries and establish a culture of mutual respect. Moreover, it's important to recognize that not everyone will respond positively to your boundaries. Some individuals may feel challenged or threatened by your newfound assertiveness. This reaction is often a reflection of their own discomfort and not a reflection of your worth or value. Be prepared for resistance and remind yourself that setting boundaries is ultimately about protecting your emotional health. Surround yourself with those who respect and support your choices. Seek out relationships that encourage your growth and well-being, as these connections will nurture your emotional state. As you practice setting boundaries, it's essential to remain flexible and open to reevaluation. Life circumstances change, and so do our needs. Regularly check in with yourself to assess whether your boundaries still serve you well. If you find that certain boundaries are too rigid or not providing the protection you need, don't hesitate to adjust them. This adaptability is a sign of emotional intelligence and a healthy approach to personal growth. Remember that setting boundaries is a continuous journey. It takes time and practice to become comfortable asserting your needs and maintaining your limits. Be patient with yourself and celebrate your progress along the way. Each time you establish a boundary, you reinforce your self-worth and create space for healthier relationships. Setting clear boundaries is a fundamental practice for emotional detachment and overall well-being. By honoring your needs, communicating assertively, and remaining consistent, you create an environment that nurtures your emotional health. Boundaries are not barriers to connection, they are gateways to healthier relationships and a more fulfilling life. Embrace this powerful practice and allow it to empower you on your journey toward emotional resilience and authentic living. Practicing mindfulness is an invaluable tool in the journey toward emotional detachment, enabling us to navigate our thoughts and feelings with greater clarity and intention. Mindfulness, at its core, is the practice of being fully present in the moment, allowing us to observe our experiences without judgment. This powerful skill helps us create a space between our emotions and our reactions, fostering emotional resilience and helping us maintain a healthy perspective on our experiences. The foundation of mindfulness is rooted in awareness. When we practice mindfulness, we learn to tune into our thoughts, emotions, and bodily sensations as they arise. This awareness is crucial for recognizing when we are becoming overwhelmed or triggered by external circumstances. Rather than being swept away by our emotions, mindfulness empowers us to step back and observe them as they come and go. This practice allows us to acknowledge our feelings without letting them control our actions or our mindset. One effective way to cultivate mindfulness is through meditation. Meditation provides a structured approach to training our minds to focus and be present. There are many forms of meditation, from guided sessions that help us visualize peaceful scenarios to more traditional practices that focus on breath control. Regardless of the method, the goal is to bring our attention to the present moment. As we meditate, we may notice thoughts drifting in and out of our consciousness. This is normal. Instead of getting frustrated or trying to suppress these thoughts, we learn to acknowledge them and gently guide our focus back to our breath or the sensations in our body. This process of returning to the present moment is where the true power of mindfulness lies. Another essential aspect of mindfulness is the practice of non-judgment. When we observe our thoughts and feelings, we often attach labels to them, thinking of some emotions as good and others as bad. However, mindfulness teaches us to embrace a neutral perspective. By refraining from judgment, we create space for self-compassion and understanding. For instance, if we feel anxious about an upcoming event, instead of labeling that anxiety as a negative experience, we can simply acknowledge it as a natural human response. This shift in perspective can alleviate the pressure we place on ourselves to always feel positive or happy. Mindfulness also encourages us to practice gratitude. By focusing on the present moment and appreciating the small joys in life, we can foster a sense of contentment that is independent of external circumstances. Take a few moments each day to reflect on what you are grateful for. It could be as simple as a warm cup of tea, the beauty of nature, or the kindness of a friend. When we cultivate gratitude, we shift our focus from what we lack to what we already have, promoting a sense of abundance and well-being. In addition to meditation and gratitude, incorporating mindfulness into our daily routines can be transformative. We can practice mindfulness while engaging in everyday activities, such as eating, walking, or even washing dishes. For instance, when eating, take the time to savor each bite. Notice the flavors, textures, and aromas. Instead of rushing through meals while distracted by our phones or television, being fully present during meals fosters a deeper appreciation for our food and enhances our overall experience. Furthermore, mindfulness can be especially beneficial during moments of emotional upheaval. When we find ourselves overwhelmed by stress or negative emotions, taking a few moments to breathe and reconnect with the present can be incredibly grounding. Close your eyes, take a few deep breaths, and focus on the sensation of the air entering and leaving your body. With each inhale, visualize drawing in calmness and clarity, and with each exhale, let go of tension and anxiety. This simple practice can help center us, providing clarity in moments of emotional turbulence. As we cultivate mindfulness, it's important to recognize that it is not about achieving a state of constant tranquility. Instead, mindfulness is about embracing the full spectrum of human emotions and experiences. It teaches us that it's okay to feel sad, anxious, or frustrated at times. By allowing ourselves to feel these emotions without judgment, we create space for healing and growth. Over time, this practice can lead to a greater sense of acceptance and peace with our emotions, allowing us to detach from them without fear or resistance. Practicing mindfulness is a powerful strategy for achieving emotional detachment and enhancing our overall emotional health. By cultivating awareness, embracing non-judgment, practicing gratitude, and incorporating mindfulness into our daily routines, we empower ourselves to navigate our emotional landscapes with grace and resilience. Mindfulness invites us to live fully in the present moment, allowing us to respond to life's challenges with clarity and intention. As we cultivate this practice, we foster a sense of inner peace and balance, enriching our lives and our relationships in profound ways. Cultivating self-compassion is a transformative practice that plays a vital role in emotional detachment and overall emotional well-being. It involves treating ourselves with the same kindness, understanding, and support that we would extend to a friend or loved one in times of difficulty. Self-compassion allows us to navigate the complexities of life with greater grace and resilience, fostering a healthier relationship with ourselves and our emotions. At the heart of self-compassion is the recognition that being human means experiencing pain, failure, and imperfection. So often, we are our own harshest critics, punishing ourselves for mistakes and shortcomings. This critical inner dialogue can lead to feelings of shame, inadequacy, and isolation. However, self-compassion invites us to acknowledge that suffering is a universal experience. When we can see that we are not alone in our struggles, we begin to cultivate a sense of connection with others, as well as with ourselves. Self-compassion consists of three core components: self-kindness, common humanity, and mindfulness. Self-kindness is the practice of being gentle with ourselves, especially when we encounter difficulties. Instead of engaging in self-judgment or harsh criticism, we can speak to ourselves with warmth and encouragement. For example, when we face a setback, instead of saying, "I can't believe I messed that up," and we can shift our language to something more supportive, such as, "It's okay to make mistakes, everyone does." I'll learn from this and move forward. This shift in self-talk fosters an environment of self-acceptance and understanding. The second component, common humanity, emphasizes the understanding that suffering and imperfection are part of the human experience. When we feel alone in our struggles, it can be easy to spiral into feelings of isolation and despair. However, recognizing that everyone faces challenges and setbacks helps us cultivate a sense of belonging. We can remind ourselves that we are part of a larger community of individuals who all experience ups and downs. This perspective not only alleviates feelings of loneliness, but also fosters a greater sense of empathy toward ourselves and others. Mindfulness, the third component of self-compassion, involves maintaining an awareness of our thoughts and feelings in the present moment without judgment. It is about observing our emotions as they arise, allowing them to be without trying to suppress or ignore them. By practicing mindfulness, we create space for our feelings, allowing us to experience them fully without becoming overwhelmed. This balanced awareness enables us to acknowledge our suffering while also recognizing that it does not define us. Instead of being consumed by negative emotions, we learn to sit with them, understanding that they are temporary and that we have the capacity to move through them. Incorporating self-compassion into our daily lives can significantly enhance our emotional resilience. One effective way to cultivate self-compassion is through journaling. Take a few moments each day to reflect on your thoughts and feelings, especially during challenging times. Write a letter to yourself as if you were writing to a dear friend facing a similar situation. Offer words of encouragement, understanding, and support. This exercise not only helps you process your emotions, but also reinforces the practice of self-kindness. Another powerful practice for cultivating self-compassion is to create a self-compassion mantra. Choose a phrase that resonates with you, such as "I am enough" or "It's okay to feel this way." Repeat this mantra to yourself, especially during moments of self-doubt or criticism. By anchoring yourself in these affirming words, you begin to shift your mindset from one of judgment to one of acceptance. Additionally, it's important to remember that self-compassion does not mean becoming complacent or ignoring areas of improvement. Rather, it is about approaching our shortcomings with a spirit of kindness and understanding. When we make mistakes, we can acknowledge them without berating ourselves. This balanced approach allows us to learn and grow without the debilitating effects of self-criticism. Practicing self-compassion also enhances our ability to detach emotionally when needed. When we are compassionate toward ourselves, we build a robust internal support system. This self-support allows us to step back from situations without feeling overwhelmed or threatened by negative emotions. Instead of feeling the need to cling to every feeling or react impulsively, we can approach challenges with a sense of calmness and clarity, recognizing that our worth is not tied to our circumstances or emotional states. Moreover, cultivating self-compassion fosters healthier relationships with others. When we treat ourselves with kindness, we are better equipped to extend that compassion to those around us. As we learn to accept our imperfections, we develop greater empathy and understanding toward others. This shift can lead to more authentic and fulfilling connections as we create an environment of mutual support and respect. Focusing on personal growth is a vital component of emotional detachment and overall well-being. Personal growth is about developing our potential, improving our skills, and enhancing our understanding of ourselves and the world around us. By prioritizing personal growth, we empower ourselves to navigate life's challenges with greater resilience and purpose, allowing us to step back from emotional turmoil and maintain a healthier perspective on our experiences. Personal growth begins with self-reflection. Taking the time to evaluate our values, beliefs, and goals enables us to gain insight into who we are and what we want from life. This reflective practice encourages us to ask ourselves important questions. What are my core values? What passions ignite my spirit? What are my strengths and weaknesses? By examining our motivations and desires, we can align our actions with our authentic selves, fostering a deeper sense of fulfillment and purpose. One effective way to promote self-reflection is through journaling. Writing about our thoughts, feelings, and experiences allows us to process our emotions and gain clarity about our personal journeys. By regularly setting aside time to journal, we create a space for introspection that can lead to valuable insights about our emotional responses and the patterns that shape our lives. This practice not only enhances self-awareness, but also provides a tangible record of our growth over time. Setting specific and achievable goals is another critical aspect of focusing on personal growth. Goals serve as a roadmap, guiding us toward our desired outcomes while providing a sense of direction and purpose. When we establish clear goals, we create a framework for our growth journey. It's essential to break these goals down into manageable steps to avoid feeling overwhelmed. For instance, if we aspire to learn a new skill, we can set smaller, incremental goals that build toward that larger objective. By celebrating our progress along the way, we reinforce our motivation and commitment to personal growth. Moreover, personal growth requires a willingness to step outside our comfort zones. Growth often occurs in the face of challenges and discomfort. By embracing new experiences, we expand our horizons and develop resilience. Whether it's taking a class in a subject we're unfamiliar with, volunteering for a cause we're passionate about, or engaging in difficult conversations, each step outside our comfort zones provides an opportunity for growth. These experiences not only enhance our skills, but also build our confidence and adaptability, helping us to become more resilient in the face of life's uncertainties. In addition to setting goals and embracing challenges, it is essential to cultivate a growth mindset. A growth mindset is the belief that our abilities and intelligence can be developed through dedication, effort, and learning. This perspective empowers us to view failures and setbacks as opportunities for learning rather than as indications of inadequacy. When we approach challenges with a growth mindset, we are more likely to persist in the face of adversity, seek feedback, and embrace new opportunities. This mindset not only fuels our personal development, but also fosters emotional detachment as we learn to view our experiences through a lens of growth rather than one of judgment or fear. Surrounding ourselves with supportive and growth-oriented individuals is also crucial in our journey toward personal growth. The people we choose to engage with can significantly influence our mindset and motivation. Seek out relationships with those who inspire and challenge you to grow. These connections can provide valuable perspectives, encouragement, and accountability as we pursue our goals. Engaging in meaningful conversations, sharing experiences, and learning from others creates a rich environment for personal development. It's also essential to limit exposure to relationships that drain our energy or reinforce negative thought patterns. As we focus on personal growth, self-compassion becomes an essential companion. Recognizing that growth is a journey filled with ups and downs allows us to be kind to ourselves during moments of struggle. Instead of being overly critical or punitive when we encounter obstacles, we can embrace the process of growth as a natural part of life. This self-compassion fosters resilience and encourages us to keep moving forward, even when faced with setbacks. It reminds us that every step we take, no matter how small, contributes to our growth and development. Moreover, cultivating a sense of curiosity is a vital element of personal growth. Approaching life with curiosity encourages us to explore new ideas, experiences, and perspectives. It allows us to embrace the unknown and learn from our encounters. This sense of curiosity fosters creativity and innovation, enabling us to think outside the box and seek solutions to challenges we may face. When we remain open to new experiences, we create a dynamic and enriching environment for personal growth. Finally, celebrating our achievements, no matter how small, is crucial in maintaining motivation and a positive mindset. Acknowledging our progress reinforces our commitment to personal growth and helps us appreciate the journey. Whether it's recognizing a personal milestone, finishing a book, or successfully navigating a difficult situation, taking the time to celebrate these achievements fosters a sense of accomplishment and encourages us to keep striving for further growth. Focusing on personal growth is an empowering journey that enhances emotional detachment and overall well-being. Through self-reflection, goal setting, stepping outside our comfort zones, cultivating a growth mindset, surrounding ourselves with supportive individuals, practicing self-compassion, nurturing curiosity, and celebrating our achievements, we create a foundation for continuous development. As we embark on this journey, we equip ourselves with the tools and resilience needed to navigate life's challenges with clarity and purpose. By prioritizing personal growth, we not only enrich our lives, but also foster a deeper connection with ourselves, leading to a more fulfilling and balanced existence. As we draw this exploration of emotional detachment to a close, it's essential to recognize that the journey toward emotional resilience is a multifaceted one. By understanding the intricacies of vulnerability, establishing clear boundaries, practicing mindfulness, cultivating self-compassion, and focusing on personal growth, we equip ourselves with the tools needed to navigate life's emotional landscape with greater ease and clarity. Each of these elements plays a vital role in fostering a healthier relationship with ourselves and with others. Emotional detachment does not mean shutting ourselves off from our feelings or becoming indifferent, rather. It is about creating a space where we can engage with our emotions in a way that empowers us. It allows us to experience life's ups and downs without becoming overwhelmed, enabling us to respond thoughtfully rather than react impulsively. As we learn to balance our emotional involvement with a sense of perspective, we create a life that is richer and more meaningful. This journey requires ongoing effort and commitment. It involves being gentle with ourselves as we navigate the complexities of our emotions, embracing our imperfections, and recognizing that growth is a continual process. By integrating these practices into our daily lives, we not only enhance our emotional well-being, but also inspire those around us to embark on their own journeys of self-discovery and resilience. Ultimately, the path to emotional detachment is one of empowerment, inviting us to live authentically and courageously. As we move forward, let us remember that we have the capacity to shape our emotional experiences, cultivate our strengths, and connect with others in meaningful ways. Embrace this journey with an open heart and a determined spirit, and you will find that emotional detachment can lead to profound personal growth and fulfillment. Thank you.